There we go. Okay, actually, I have to get going. I'm going to be moving over to Instagram now because I haven't got a lot of time tonight. So I'm going to be moving over to Instagram if you want to join me over there. What I do is whenever I do a live, I do YouTube the whole time during the whole live, and then I bounce from Facebook to Instagram to TikTok. So I go from my smallest platform up to my biggest, which is TikTok. So I'm going over to Instagram now if you want to join me over there. If not, check out my website, BratBusters.com. You can get my free behavior board when you join my newsletter. You can look into my courses. I have 2 of them. They're boot camp courses, one for toddlers, one for 3 to 12-year-olds. You can look into coaching. I've got a big wait list, but I'm hoping to get to the end of it, hopefully in the next month or so. So, and also our podcast. My daughter and I work together and we do the podcast together. So it's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast, and it's on all the platforms. And we also save it on YouTube if you want to watch it. Yeah, Tabitha, hi. It had died out. Sorry. Anyway, I'm hopping over to Instagram now. Happy parenting. Come on. So many buttons to push. It's unbelievable. God, I'm whiny tonight. Yeah, I'm just not good at night. So I'm a morning person. I'm up at like 4 or 5 every morning. Okay. There we go. Okay, I'm on Instagram now. Okay. Everyone in bed over there. Okay. I'll be in bed soon too. Okay, this is JMac on YouTube. How do I get my 6-year-old to go somewhere when he says no and won't get in the car? He's big and strong, 75 pounds, and I can't just grab him. Yeah, I wouldn't do that with a 6-year-old anyway. So, put in like a 3-year-old. Okay, so why is he saying no? That says to me that he doesn't respect you. So I can't help you with that specific problem. But what I would say is start working on your leadership, and that kind of stuff will just melt away. Once you're a leader, they don't act like that. They just don't. It just says he doesn't respect you. You've got to work on your leadership skills. The training wheels for all this is my behavior board. If you want to check that out, you might also want to check out my boot camp course. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to start dealing with one behavior at a time. You can't put down something vague like this. Listen to me when I say something. That's ridiculous. So you just put down, you'll see, it explains it. It's actually a mini course and it's completely free, the behavior board. If you want to check out the boot camp course, that's not free. That's more in depth, obviously. But the behavior board goes into the first 3 weeks of what you do when you start your leadership training. Okay, it's all for you, not the kids. Okay, so welcome to my live. I'm on YouTube. No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm on YouTube and I'm also on Instagram now. If you want to check out my website, BratBusters.com, you can see my free behavior board when you join my newsletter. You can also see my 2 boot camp courses, one for toddlers, one for bigger kids. You can also look into coaching if you want to work with me one-on-one. I do have a big wait list, but I hope to get through it soon. And also you can look into our podcast. It's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on all the platforms, and we also put it on YouTube if you want to watch us do it. Yeah, my daughter and I work together. We have very different roles in the company. I always say I'm the car, but she's the driver. She does all the marketing, all the planning for the business. So I just do what she tells me most of the time. She's a very hard worker. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I'm just, I usually scroll through to get to the end of the lab. What I do is I want to make sure people are still here, but it's a smaller group because it's late. So I should be able to get to a lot more questions, but I usually scroll through to make sure you're still here when I answer. So if I miss your question, that's what I'm doing. What should I do to implement this with older kids, 10, 13, 16? Okay, so teenagers are different. Our plan is hopefully soon, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to start working on the teenage course. It's going to be, so then I'll have 3 boot camp courses for all ages. The reason, and I specialize in teenagers, the reason I never did a course for teenagers is because I specialize in crisis work with teenagers. And I thought, well, I can't put that in a course. It's so specific to each family. Then I realized most people aren't in crisis with their teenagers. I don't know why I had that in my head. So we are going to do a course on teenagers. So before then, you can look into the podcast. If you go on my website, you can see where you can submit questions, and they might turn up on the podcast or here. But I will tell you my top 5 tips for parenting teenagers. They're by far my favorite age, teenagers. You got to change how you parent. with teenagers. They're they're going to be adults soon. You can't keep parenting right through the teen years and then all of a sudden 18, okay, they're off, they're adults now. You got to change, right? You got to adjust your parenting for the teen years. Number one with teenagers, listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will tune you out. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. They already know it anyway. Number two, negotiate as much as possible with teenagers. Hey, I want your dirty clothes in the hamper. What do you want from me? Back and forth, back and forth. This is cute. There's nothing identifying in this, but sometimes kids pop in, they just sort of interrupt coaching sessions. And one kid came in, he was a bit older, and he comes in. So I asked his advice. I said, what do you want the parents to do? And he came up with a really good suggestion. So that's what we did. So yeah, I don't talk to kids anymore, but sometimes that'll happen. And they always have great suggestions. That's what always amazes me. The kids always, and they never come up with something silly. They always come up with something really like, oh, that's a good one. Okay. Because I'll say to the parents, what should your rule be? I don't know. And the kids, this kid had a really good suggestion. It was cute. Okay. So negotiate pretty much everything as much as possible. Number three with teenagers, don't sweat the small stuff. If they do something stupid and it's not a big deal, just say, well, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did when I was your age? And laugh it off. Or do you want to hear what I did this morning? It's okay to make mistakes. You want to make that very clear that you do it too. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes. We all learn from those, right? Hopefully. Number four, don't leverage the good times to discuss the bad times. A lot of parents of teenagers want to discuss all the hell they've put them through the last 2 years. Good luck with that. You don't do it. When do you discuss the bad times? Never. When is your revenge and your payback with teenagers who've dragged you through the mud through the teen years? When they have their own teenagers years from now, and then they complain to you. And you can say to them, that's a shame. That's the payback. He gets a slow burn. But anyway, and number five, you can be a right fighter or you can be happy. Think about it. You can be a right fighter or you can be happy. Now, when you're arguing with a teenager, I don't recommend that you argue with a teenager, but if you do, they're going to die on every hill. Even if they know they're wrong, they're going to die on that hill. They'll keep arguing. So yeah, don't argue with teenagers. So you can be a right fighter or you can be happy. If they're arguing, start to argue, just say, I'll tell you what, let's just talk about it later. Don't say, let's talk about it later when you've calmed down. That's an accelerator. That's rude. Just say, yeah, let's just talk about it later. What happens when the consequence doesn't bother the toddler? 3. Well, to me, a toddler isn't 3. It's under 3. So 3-year-olds on the behavior board and the consequences don't bother them. There's always something. So the first consequence is always the positive action. If they won't do that, then you resort to the negative deprivation. I just talked about this on Facebook on the live. And what I said you do is you invent leverage. So if there's nothing that bothers them, like you can't take anything away, you say, oh, that's a real shame. So you didn't do the first consequence, right? Because they broke the rule. Then they didn't do the first positive action consequence. So say, okay, so we were going to surprise you and go out for ice cream tonight, but now we're not. That's what you take away. You invent leverage. You were never going to go out for ice cream, but they didn't know that. And so then you just don't go. Or you can take the other kids out for ice cream. So yeah, that's even worse. They hate it when they see their siblings getting it. Then they'll usually say this, if I'm good tomorrow, do I get it? Say, no, it's just going to be a surprise. You do not owe them that. Don't get that. Don't let them get that entitled, attitude. Okay. So I'm just going to scroll ahead to make sure you're still here when I answer. Okay, I always get frustrated with these questions, and I'll tell you why. Not your question, but my answer. This is, I can't say your name. Heinmoa K. Okay. Any advice on siblings 5 and 6 fighting a lot in the car, teasing, playing very loud, being super silly, etc. Anyway, so it's the fighting that bothers them. Here's the thing. Is that sort of something that settles down once you're a leader? I would just pull over to the side of the road. If you're going somewhere they want to go, I would pull over and say, I'll just stand here for a couple minutes because you guys aren't getting along. I would get out of the car and say that to them. Okay, I wouldn't do it on the freeway, but do it safely, right? And just say, okay, so you're fighting. I'm just going to get out of the car and give you a couple minutes here. And that's what I would do. But once it's one of those things that sort of organically, they just stop fighting. You do deal with it if they're really hurting each other. You can put no fighting on the behavior board or no killing each other on the behavior board, like hurting each other, that kind of stuff. So you can use the behavior board. But in the backseat of the car, when they're just poking at each other constantly, that stops once you're a leader. So you got to do what, I'm frustrated with my answer here. It's not that you can't do anything. It's just that it's hard to do in the moment. It's one of those things, like everyone says, what do I do in the moment? Not much. You can get home later on and you can maybe have a consequence, but in the moment, not much you can do other than pull over and just wait a couple of minutes. But if you're going somewhere they don't care about, that's not going to work anyway. If you're just going grocery shopping, they don't care. So that's not going to, sort of change anything. But yeah, I don't feel like I gave a great answer there, but that's okay. I was going to say it's nighttime. That's no excuse. I'm not good at night. I just am a morning person. I have a hard time not bouncing out of bed at 3 a.m. Yeah, I'm such a morning person. I'm trying to change it around a little bit. That's why I'm doing the live. Okay, my kids fight and call each other names all the time. I would put no name calling on the behavior board. Start there. No name calling. You cannot put attitude, like anything they say we can't put on the behavior board other than swearing and name calling. Those are the only two things that come out of their mouth that I would put in the behavior board. Yeah, there we go. They're fighting all the time, curse and call each other names. Plus, you got to figure out who's the antagonizer, who's the perpetrator, and who's the victim. Oftentimes, the one who hits is the victim because the other one's gone. They've really bothered them a lot, and then they lash out and hit. You got to be careful. You know who's the one who starts it all. That's the one I go after. It's the one who starts it all. Yeah, I don't feel like I was much help, but I threw a little bit in there anyway. Sorry about that. With the car fighting. I was just responding to YouTube. Okay, 11-year-old doesn't seem to put effort in anything, not even things he enjoys. That would be coaching. I'd have to figure out what's going on there. So he's just really lackluster with life. I'd have to, that would be coaching. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Because usually if it's something they enjoy, they usually put some effort in. What do you think of sleep training an 8-month-old? Will I spoil them by co-sleeping and picking them up all the time? Okay. I didn't like co-sleeping. I did it with my daughter, but we never slept well because we were terrified of smothering her. So we did it for 8 months with her, and I didn't like it. But anyway, and then I sleep trained her. So I just what you do is you just let them cry, right? And then you go in there every minute, and then it's every 2 minutes, then every 3 minutes. Just pat them on the back. You're all right, and then you leave again, right? So I did that with her, and it was just one night. It was horrible. I sat outside her room and cried. It was horrible. So anyway, what else did you ask? Oh, picking them up all the time. If a baby cries, I pick them up. I don't think you can spoil a baby with love. If a baby cries, I pick them up, and I just do. So yeah, I don't like babies crying. And then they say all they want is just to be picked up, and I'm like, yep, I'm gonna do it. Okay, 2.5-year-old just started hitting, shoving. 10-month-old, just protect the 10-month-old. There's no way I'd trust a 2.5-year-old around a baby. So yeah, you're just gonna have to protect them for now. And when they do hit, you say no, and then you take a toy away or whatever. But also you pick up that 10-month-old as soon as and fuss over the 10-month-old. So the 2.5-year-old hits the baby, then you pick up the baby. You say no, take away a toy or something, and then you pick up the baby and fuss over the baby. Okay, it's going to take a while, by the way. It's not a quick one. Nothing with toddlers is a quick fix because they learn through repetition. And also, we talk a lot about discipline because I'm just responding to your questions here. I haven't been going on like I should have. What I should have been going on about really every single live is connecting with kids. It's not about discipline. Discipline's a very tiny part of parenting. Your most important role with your children is connecting with them, bonding with them, and you connect and bond in their world, not yours. Okay, it's not about words really. It's about being there. It's about showing up. It's like I use this example, like you say to a 5-year-old little boy, "You're wonderful. You're special. I love you. You're just the best. I'm going to go do the dishes now." This is his face. You say to that same 5-year-old little boy, "Hey, what are you doing? Can I play too?" He lights up. Connecting. Connection is everything. It's not about words. It's about doing stuff with them. Their love language is fun. All kids' love language is fun. So have fun with your kids. Without that, discipline just I wouldn't do it. It's not worth it. You want to connect. Connection is the most important part. The discipline is secondary. But I don't let anything go. So I'm really good at connecting with kids. So I have no guilt when I discipline. None. Their love cup is overflowing with me. So I have no guilt when I discipline kids, because it's a very tiny part of what I do with kids. Oh, I've done a lot. You said, can you please make a video on how to deal with kids who fight and call each other names? I've done tons of videos on kids fighting. Yeah, and with name calling, if they're 3 and above, you can use the behavior board. It's free on my website, and you put down no name calling. There's only two things that I would ever put on the board that comes out of their mouth. One is swearing and one is name calling. Every attitude, yelling, screaming, you never put that on the board. It's in the attitude department. Okay, my son does. What you said makes total sense. My son doesn't respect me. My partner called it out. My son is almost 5 and constantly hits me, swears at me, etc. Okay. Yeah, that's just a tell. If they're acting out with you, they don't respect you. You got to earn that. A lot of people think that it should just come naturally. You got to work for it. I worked my butt off with kids and teenagers. I earned that respect, right? And that's all I teach here. I teach you how to earn, but you give it to get it. You give respect to get it back. You got to give before you get. And that's why you're on the behavior board too. If you're not on there, you're not a leader. You've got to be accountable, because they're watching you. This comes up a lot. 3.5-year-old toilet trained, but now keeps weeing in pants. You said weeing. You must be English or Australian. I lived in Australia for 20 years. They don't call it pee. They call it wee. Even when asked if he needs to go to the toilet, he says no. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Did something upset him, or like, why has he regressed? I don't know. I'd have to figure that out. That would be coaching if you're interested. But he'll probably outgrow that. I wouldn't waste all your money on coaching if that's all you've got to deal with, because, yeah, I wouldn't. I don't quite know what you mean. Sorry. I'm just trying to, I've read a lot of the questions, but I don't understand them all. You asked about a Velcro baby who won't let you put them down. Could you wear them? I pick up babies if they cry, but also give them something to do. Like if they got playthings or whatever, or, I'm not against those things that rock them. The movement, those swings or whatever they're called. Yeah. What did I used to do? I took, I took my kids around when they were babies, and you got to get stuff done, right? I put them in a pram, or you call it a stroller here. I put them in the stroller, and I had it all padded up and like a little, I didn't have a bassinet. I just used the stroller, and it was a sort of an old fashioned one where it was sort of the buggy type. Anyway, so I just rolled them around wherever I was. The baby was with me. It was right beside me. I was always talking to them. So they were quite happy to be, if I was busy doing something, I was always looking at them and talking to them. So, yeah, but I only had them one at a time. They're 5 years apart, so it made it easier for me. I wasn't chasing a toddler around and then I had a baby. That would be a lot harder. But yeah, sometimes they're just going to cry if you got to get the laundry done or something, right? But yeah, if they are crying and I can pick them up, I'll pick them up. Sorry. Well, I don't know how to answer this one. How to encourage 3-year-old to eat healthier food. My kids didn't have any options. All we had was healthy food, and I made everything from scratch. Okay, so aren't you in control of what they get? Like, I don't quite understand that. And I can't really talk about nutrition because I'm not qualified to do so. But yeah, we all kind of know what healthy and unhealthy food is. Okay, but I can't be the judge of that. But you know what I'm saying. But yeah, we didn't have any. Like there was no potato chips in our house, put it that way, or bought cookies. I made all that from scratch. And all my stuff was really healthy because I threw in health. I hid a lot of healthy stuff into everything. So, but yeah, you're in control of what goes in front of them. So I don't quite understand the question. Any tips for potty training? No, it's a whole system. I don't have any tips for potty training other than 2.5 is a good age to do it. I trained my son in 1 day and my daughter in 2 days. No pull-ups, no night diapers, nothing. The potty training course is a mini course within my boot camp courses, if you want to check that out. But it's a whole system. So the only tip is 2.5 is a good age for almost all kids. If you potty train too young, like I'll have some people who say, well, I potty train my kids at 18 months. They're more likely to regress if they're really young. But, that's your call. They don't all regress, but. My son is 11, is great for short periods of time for routines, non-negotiables like hygiene, making bed, etc. Then all of a sudden he stops and we don't know why. And he says he doesn't know or forgets. Does he have incentive to remember? Like, is there a consequence if he doesn't do it? So just use the behavior board and start there and just say follow. It can just be like bedtime routine or hygiene routine or something, and then have steps that he has to follow every single day. And if he doesn't, there's a consequence. So is there a reason for him not to forget? Okay, actually, I'm going to move over to TikTok now if you want to join me over there. If not, check out BratBusters.com. You can get my free behavior board when you join my newsletter. You can look into my 2 boot camp courses, one for toddlers, one for older kids. And if you want to check into coaching, I do have a big wait list, but I'm hoping to get through it soon. I always forget on the podcast. Anyway, we have a podcast. I think we've had it for 10 or 11 months now. And we do 2 a week, and it's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. My daughter and I do it together, and it's on all the platforms. Also, we film ourselves doing it, and that goes on YouTube. So if you want to watch us do it. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I'm on YouTube the whole time whenever I'm doing a live, and I hop from Facebook to Instagram to TikTok, which is where I'm going now. Happy parenting.
Come with me.
Now that was 10 buttons I had to push. It used to be 9. Good night, Kaylorine. Answer me out of respect. Okay. Welcome to my live here on TikTok. Just waiting for people to turn up on TikTok. Annabelle, if you could summarize your parenting style as a whole in one sentence, how would you? My boyfriend believes there's too much fluff in your method for it to be effective. I don't have a sentence for it. I don't operate that way. But anyway, check out the pool story. If you just Google BratBusters pool story, it'll pop up. That is, in a nutshell, that's how I treat kids. I don't let anything go. I deal with bad behavior, then I focus on the good kid. My goal is always to make kids feel good, bring out the best in them. When they feel good, they do good. When they feel bad, they do bad. So yeah, I always want kids to like themselves. You never want kids to feel sad or bad when you're disciplining. It's okay that they're mad. I have no problem with that at all. But I don't want them to feel sad or bad about themselves. Okay, there's a difference. So yeah, check out the pool story. Okay, welcome to my live. I'm on TikTok now, and I'm on YouTube the whole time whenever I'm doing a live. So check out my website, BratBusters.com. You can see my free behavior board. When you join my newsletter, you can get my courses. Sorry, I'm getting tired. I'm so bad at nighttime. You can look into my 2 boot camp courses. I have one for toddlers, one for older kids. Also, my coaching. I do have a big wait list, but I'll get through it eventually if you want to work with me one-on-one. Otherwise, you can listen to our podcast. It's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. My daughter and I do it together. She does all the marketing and all the planning. And then I always say I'm the car and she's the driver. She drives the business. I'm just the car. She's the one I'm steering. Mom, do this. Mom, have you done that yet? She's very much in charge. Very hard worker. Do I have kids? No. Am I still tuned into this? Yes. Kaylee. That's funny. I do get that. I do get. I even sometimes someone said, not only do I not have kids, I never plan on having kids. Still listen. That's funny. I never used to listen to TikTok at all, but now I'm addicted to it. I just love TikTok. It is just like crack. It knows exactly what you want to watch. It's very clever. Okay, and also just to mention, and someone said a while ago, they said, "Oh, you must be raking in the dough with TikTok." No, I don't make. I'm in Canada. We make no money on TikTok. They don't pay us anything. I'm not on here for the money. I'm on here just. I started doing this about 3 years ago, I think, on TikTok, and I just love talking about it. Love talking about parenting. So, yeah, I don't know why China hates us. I guess they won't. They don't pay us. They pay everybody else but Canada. Doesn't bother me. Okay. Any tips for a 13-month-old with temper tantrums starting? Not really. You can divert their attention. That's what I do because they're still a baby until they're about 15 months old. So you just divert their attentions. They start having a tantrum. You might pick them up and say, "Oh, what's this over here?" It's indirect redirecting. So you don't say, "Okay, let's go over here and do this." You just pick them up and look like you're just sort of distracted. "Oh, what's this? Oh, look at this. This is lovely." And then they might join in. Don't invite them to join in. You just sort of start playing with something or talking about something. Let them decide to come over and play with you, or probably crawling at that stage. But yeah, just starting. The fun is just starting. They're going to keep having tantrums. There's 4 things they're born to do or they're never going to do. One of them is tantrums, one is hitting, one is running, and one is climbing. They're never going to do those things, or they are. There's just something in their DNA they're born to do it or never going to do it. It's not your fault that they have tantrums, but it is your responsibility to train them out of it. Okay? So that's your challenge. Takes time. And when you get good at this, as they, like right now, you're just using diversion. But when they're like a toddler, 16 months old, you want to start ignoring the tantrums. And there's a way of doing it. I've got thousands of videos on tantrums. If you just want to type in BratBusters tantrums, lots of videos will come up. Yeah, the tantrums. Like I said, I don't really want to go into it right here because I've talked about it thousands of times. So if you just Google BratBusters tantrums, I've got lots of videos, lots and lots of videos. And now remember, their tantrums are not really based on a lot of feelings and emotions, other than anger, not getting their own way. That's why it's okay to ignore a tantrum. It's not a big emotional turmoil like you think it is. It's more theater. It's drama. It's all for you. And yeah, think of it that way. Okay, could you please do more podcasts on how to deal with preteens, 11 to 13 years old? Well, 13 is a teen. A preteen is 9 to 12. Is a tween or a preteen, 9 to 12 years old. That's when hormones can start kicking in and that. But yeah, it's the same method with a 3-year-old as it is a 12-year-old. Your parenting is virtually the same. Okay, it's age appropriate, but your style is sort of the same. When they hit 13, you start to shift and change how you parent because they're teenagers and they're going to be adults in a few years. So you do want to give them more leeway in certain way. It's just a little bit different. I haven't got a course on teenagers yet. I will. But yeah, more podcasts. And the thing is, here's the problem, is we do our podcasts according to what people ask us for. People don't usually ask that. If you go on the website, my daughter does all the podcast stuff. So if you go on my website and you give her podcast ideas, if enough people do that, we'll do podcasts on that age group, on tweens and preteens. But we feed off of very specific questions too. So, but yeah, we just don't get those don't seem to land. I specialize in teenagers, but most of the people that ask here and turn up here, they don't have teenagers. So, and the podcast, it's mostly parents of little ones. So we're just feeding what people want, right? So, but yeah, if you go on my website, BratBusters.com, and if my daughter sees enough of those questions for older kids, then we'll do a podcast on that. Because it's just based off of what you want. Toddler behavior tips and pool story. Yeah, the pool story is, BratBusters.com pool story. Just Google it. And the pool story it's not my favorite story, but it's a good one. My favorite story is I have the same story, but it's on steroids with teenagers. And I only tell that one in coaching. It's a really good one. The pool story is good, though. It just explains, you deal with bad behavior, but it's like a business transaction. If your kids act out, never show any anger, frustration, or disappointment, because that's not fair to them, okay? You just don't show any of those emotions. It's a business transaction. As soon as you're finished, you go back to normal. Okay, so you've got 24-hour media blackout because you chose to hit your brother, then you wouldn't do the first consequence. 24-hour media blackout started, and now do you want to go play a game? You see, it's over. It's done. Don't have kids in the doghouse for 24 hours. It doesn't work that way. You want to connect with them. Your goal is always to connect. Make them feel good about themselves. If they choose to do the wrong thing, you want to address it, but you don't want to drag them down. Don't drag them through the mud. Parents do that all the time. They'll discuss what they did wrong. They want to talk about it. Why would you do that? You know better than that. That's all the shaming and blaming and bullying. I don't talk like that to kids ever. Why would you do that? Could you imagine if your friend said something like that to you? You turn up late. Why would you do that? You know better than that. See how patronizing it is? It's nasty. Think about it. How would you feel if someone talked to you like that? Why would you do that? I'm so disappointed in you. Why would you? See, a lot of parents do that. They think they're doing the right thing, but they're dragging their kids through the mud. And it's not fair to them. It's mean. You just don't know it's mean, but I'm telling you now it's mean. What about if your 12-year-old is acting like a mean girl? Well, I don't know. I don't have any context around that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you mean by mean girl. Is she just bullying other kids, or I don't know what you mean by that. But usually if they are a mean girl, they're usually getting away with stuff at home too. You up your leadership skills and they don't tend to be like that. Kids who have a leader tend to be more on the kind side. They just do, because they're used to being treated with respect. And part of respect is disciplining them when they need it. Right? It's not just letting them get away with stuff. It's quite the opposite. I think it's disrespectful to let kids get away with stuff and allow them to be mean, right? So if your kid's getting violent, you know who you are. I'm not going to address that on here. Okay, how much TV is too much for a 3.5-year-old? Nobody can answer that. Nobody can say what is a healthy amount of screen time and what is an unhealthy amount of screen time. You just have to use your own judgment, okay? I would say for a 3.5-year-old, maybe a half hour a day, maybe, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe no screens is best. Nobody really knows. No one can answer that. You're just going to get people's opinions. So and I don't really have an opinion on that. It's different for every family. They all have, that's up to the parents to tell me what they want. And then I'll say, well, we might want to cut back a bit. Sometimes we'll do that. But then some of my clients don't have any screen time with their kids for religious purposes, or they just don't want their kids to have screens. So everyone's different. Someone said, do you help with ADHD? That's where I learned all this. My kids didn't have it, but I worked with hundreds of kids, and they were all alphabet kids. That's what I call them. They had acronyms after their name, ADHD, WXYZ. So yeah, those are all the kids that taught me all this. And I've never read a book on kids or anything. I just was out in the field, just volunteering with kids for decades. And turns out I was kind of good at it. I enjoyed it. I like connecting with kids. That's my strength is, I like being fun. And and then they want fun Lisa, so why would they act out? But I don't take any crap either. Right? But the thing is, I want them to feel good about themselves when they're with me. I want them to like themselves when they're with me. And if you feel good, you do good. If you feel bad, you do bad. Do you believe in meds? I'm not a doctor. I can't comment on that. Ain't qualified. How do you teach emotions and regulating them if you constantly have to be a leader? Because you're a fantastic listener. Fantastic. Listening is a skill. You listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with. Like if I went to my mom with a problem, and I was like little, I can remember this. I was probably about 3 or 4. And I said, Mommy, someone did something to me at whatever daycare, I don't know, preschool or something. And my mom would say, and what should I do, Mommy? And she would say to me, well, I don't know. You're a smart girl. You can figure it out. And then we'd chat about it. So yeah, she was a great listener. And I told her everything right through the teen years. And I was a great listener. My kids told me pretty much everything too. So listening skills. When they have that person, that safe place to land, they can tell anything to with no judgment and no lecturing, right? That's what helps them regulate emotion. You can't regulate their emotions for them. When you got a safe place to land, your emotions just are healthier, right? Get someone you can tell anything to. So that's how you do it. Be a good listener. And it's not easy, I say you listen to understand and show empathy. Oh, that would be frustrating. I can see that. And then shut up. You know how hard that was for me? I'm a talker. And when my kids would tell me something and I knew the answer or I thought I did, I'd just shut up. I'd just go, gee, that would be frustrating. Yeah. And then they'd keep talking. And then I'd say, yeah, well, I don't know. What are you going to do about that? What do you think? I can remember when I was about your age, something like that happened. This is what I did. It might work. It might not. You see how it went? I wanted to empower them to problem solve on their own, but I'm there for, to bounce ideas off of and might come up with a couple, but I never told them what to do. Yeah, I just was a good listener. But yeah, the shutting up was hard because I'm a talker. But you see, I practiced on a lot of kids before I had my own kids. I figured this out with all these other kids first. So by the time I had my own kids, it was kind of a piece of cake. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to help you with this. And I don't know how old your son is, but I'm going to make up a scenario. This is just 25. Oh, I get this. It's so hard. I'm a talker too. My son is not. It doesn't work with him. Okay. Boys talk around activities. Here's what I mean by that. Let's say he's playing a video game. You plunk yourself beside him and you start maybe just commenting briefly on the game. Just sort of relax. Don't force yourself on him. They talk around activities. So if you're just there like furniture, right, and you're talking about his game every so often, that's when stuff comes out. Or it doesn't come out with boys, especially if they're teenagers. It doesn't come out with boys when you say, what's bothering you? It comes out when, you're cooking together or you're both in the kitchen together and you're laughing at something, then it'll come out. They talk around activities. They talk when it's not in your face direct. They want just sort of, you're both standing at the sink, maybe doing dishes, no eye contact. They're more likely to open up then. Or if you're playing video games with them, or if you're driving with them. You see, they don't like that direct question usually. There's exceptions, but that's what I found with teenage boys especially. And also, this makes me cringe. If you say to a teenager, oh, what's bothering you? Do you want to talk about it? Okay, maybe that'll work with some, yeah. But if they're not inclined to talk, that's the worst thing you can say. Just say, hey, do you want to hear what I did today? Do you want to hear something funny? Just start conversation. Make it light, not big emotions or anything. Make it light. And then it opens the door for them to just come in with a few things. And then when they do come in, don't go, oh my God, did you, just go, oh, okay. So, and just let them talk, see what happens. Anyway, I got to go. Thanks so much for joining me. Check out my website, BratBusters.com. You can see my free behavior board if you join my newsletter. You can also get my courses, boot camp courses, one's for toddlers, one for older kids. Also, you can get on the wait list for coaching if you're interested in working with me. It's a big wait list, but I should get through it. I don't know when, soon, hopefully. And also, you can look into our podcast, BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's on all the platforms. And we also save it on YouTube if you want to watch it. My daughter and I do it together. We work together. She does all the marketing, all the planning. She's the one who sees your DMs and some of your comments. I don't see any of those. She does all that stuff. So if you ever get a comment back on a DM, that's my daughter. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. And I'll be back again hopefully soon. I've just been too busy to do lives these days, but I'm doing my best to try and do them when I can. Anyway, happy parenting. Bye now. Oh, for goodness sake.